Shalom, my name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the Vineyard. Every day, Yahweh is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard. This is week 44. We are now in the book of Deuteronomy, which, honestly, I'm really excited for. I think the book of Deuteronomy doesn't get the best rap. The book is called Devarim in Hebrew. In English, Deuteronomy, which in English it means second law, and that's kind of how this has been positioned as some secondary thing that was added, even in Torah observant messianic circles, some people speak in a way that Deuteronomy is done away with or separate from the rest of the Torah, which I just want to say up front, I disagree with. I believe it's the whole package. I believe the Torah is Genesis through Deuteronomy and comes as a package. Matter of fact, it's one of the most important books in Torah, and the reason for it, in my opinion, just kind of recounting, this is the book that really tells us to put the Torah in our heart. It's, chapter 30 tells us that it's not too hard for us. We can do it. Deuteronomy 6 says to love Yahweh with all of our heart, and that the commandments, the reflection, and the way we do that is by putting the Torah constantly on our mind when we sit up, when we lie down, when we walk by the way, recognizing important things like even Messiah. He himself said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. And recognizing that is a parallel of the Torah, not reducing Messiah down to Genesis through Deuteronomy, but he is saying that's literally part of him. Just as we continue to study, I'm just recognizing the importance of the Torah. This book really is the book that really tells us to put it in and shows us how to put it in our hearts, and really explains other things in more detail. So let's get into it. Let's start with prayer. Heavenly Father, Most High, we just come before you and bless you. Thank you for the week. Thank you for the good times. Thank you for the challenges. Thank you for the growth. Thank you for just allowing us to be alive still and to praise your name. Bless those who are alive and keep your commandments, O Yahweh. And we just thank you so much for sending your Son. And we just ask you bless us with your Holy Spirit, that we can understand these words and that they may actually be in our heart, that we may actually do them and be a light to the nations. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you for the Sabbath. All right, grab those shofars. We're going to set the shofars to our lips and sound an alarm. It's not a really good one. Praise the Most High. All right, let's take a look at Deuteronomy. Let's go and open at Deuteronomy 1:1. Just want to share a few more notes, just thoughts, things meditated on over the years about Deuteronomy. Again, I mentioned the name Devarim means words. Deuteronomy means second law. We talked about the heart. The heart posture is in Deuteronomy. And what I meant earlier about that's just the Torah being so important and being a focus, I'm still hearing it that, people come to the knowledge of the truth of the commandments, the Torah, but then it's like, hey, don't focus too much on it. It's, you got to focus on Messiah. You got to focus on like being a good person. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, the Torah is literally a guidebook for life. It literally it touches on every pillar of life, including, of course, food, distribution, poor, the needy. When you have your vineyards and your crops, to leave them for the poor. It talks about judges and how judges operate, kingship, limitations of kingship, and making sure there's not overstep and overreach. the jubilee cycles, the land rest cycles, the crop rotations, the how to take care of animals, the not mixing of variations of crops. I mean, like almost every part of life is in here. I mean, really, every part of life is in here, not almost. And so, I'm recognizing that Torah needs to be diligently studied, diligently meditated on, and we see that Messiah came and confirmed all that. He literally fought the devil face to face with the book of Deuteronomy. I don't think he quoted anything out of Deuteronomy, did he? No, he literally quoted all out of Deuteronomy when battling Satan. And Deuteronomy itself was quoted 28 times in the New Testament. Yeah. And anyways, so let's actually one more thing. Yeah, there's some teachings that says that the law and then the covenant are two different things. And so 1 Chronicles 16:17 has confirmed the same to Jacob for a law and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. My understanding is that the law and the covenant are just two ways of saying the same thing, or the law is part of the covenant, if you will. Psalm 78:10, they kept not the covenant of Elohim. I think all of us could reasonably understand that they didn't keep the law, right, and refused to walk in his law. And like this is some additional thing. It's just, this is how Scripture works, especially in Proverbs, says the same thing twice in two different ways to give you more of a depth to an understanding. Psalm 105:10, and confirm the same unto Jacob for a law and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. And some of you that may be confused is, there's some teachers that teach that the book of the law and the book of the covenant are two different things. And that how the law was put in the ark, and then the covenant was put on the side of the ark, meaning that it's some other thing that was to be done away with in the near future. And so therefore you have a significant portion of this movement that just literally take out the book of Deuteronomy, like gone, see ya, which I don't agree with at all. Jeremiah 31:33, but this shall be the covenant that I'll make with the house of Israel after those days, says Yahweh, I'll put my law in their inward parts and write it on their hearts. And consider what I was mentioning earlier. This is not a new concept. This is what Yahweh asked of them. Literally, Deuteronomy 10, circumcise therefore the foreskins of your heart and be no more stiff-necked. And with the context of that, there's no other interpretation for the keeping of the commandments, because it's literally sandwiched by that understanding. Hosea 8:1, set the trumpet to your mouth. He shall come as an eagle against the house of Yahweh, because they have transgressed my covenant, trespassed my law, saying the same thing in two different ways. And so just want to mention the perspective I have is that Deuteronomy is part of the covenant and the law. There's not some separate thing. And so let's go ahead and have the word audio read chapter 1, and then we'll talk about it. Praise the Most High.
Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 1. These are the words which Moshe spoke unto all Yisrael, on this side of the Yarden, in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel and Lavan and Chatzeroth and Dai-Zachav. There are 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir unto Kadesh Barnea. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moshe spoke unto the children of Yisrael, according unto all that Yahweh had given him in commandment unto them. After he had slain Sihon, the king of the Amorim, which dwelt in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, which dwelt at Ashtaroth in Edrei. On this side of the Yarden, in the land of Moab, began Moshe to declare this Torah, saying,
Yahweh Eloheinu spoke unto us in Horeb, saying, Ye have dwelt long enough in this mount. Turn you, and take your journey, and go to the mount of the Amorim, and unto all the places nigh thereunto, in the plain, in the hills, and in the valley, and in the Negev, and by the seaside, to the land of the Canaanim, and unto Lebanon, unto the great river, the river Perath. Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yahweh swore unto your fathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, to give unto them and to their seed after them. And I spoke unto you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone. Yahweh Elohim has multiplied you, and behold, ye are this day as the stars of heaven for multitude. Yahweh Elohim your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are, and bless you, as he has promised you. How can I myself alone bear your cumbrance, and your burden, and your strife? Take you, wise men, and understanding, and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. And he answered me and said, The thing which you have spoken is good for us to do. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men, and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over 10s, and officers among your tribes. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, Hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with him. Ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great. Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is Elohim's. And the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all things which ye should do. And when we departed from Horeb, we went through all that great and terrible wilderness, which ye saw by the way of the mountain of the Amorim, as Yahweh Eloheinu commanded us, and we came to Kadesh Barnea. And I said unto you, Ye are come unto the mountain of the Amorim, which Yahweh Eloheinu gives unto us. Behold, Yahweh Elohika has set the land before you. Go up and possess it, as Yahweh Elohai of your fathers has said unto you. Fear not, neither be discouraged. And ye came near unto me, every one of you, and said, We will send men before us, and they shall search us out the land, and bring us word again, by what way we must go up, and into what cities we shall come. And this saying pleased me well. And I took 12 men of you, one of a tribe. And they turned and went up into the mountain, and came unto the valley of Eshcol, and searched it out. And they took of the fruit of the land in their hands, and brought it down unto us, and brought us word again, and said, It is a good land which Yahweh Eloheinu gives us. Notwithstanding, ye would not go up, but rebelled against the commandment of Yahweh Elohika. And ye murmured in your tents, and said, Because Yahweh hated us, he has brought us forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorim, to destroy us. Whither shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our hearts, saying, The people are greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to heaven, and moreover we have seen the sons of the Anakim there. Then I said unto you, Dread not, neither be afraid of them. Yahweh Elohim, which goes before you, he shall fight for you, according to all that he did for you in Mitzrayim before your eyes, and in the wilderness, where you have seen how that Yahweh Elohim bore you, as a man bears his son, in all the way that you went, until you came into this place. Yet in this thing ye did not believe Yahweh Elohim, who went in the way before you, to search you out a place to pitch your tents in fire by night, to show you by what way ye should go, and in a cloud by day. And Yahweh heard the voice of your words, and was wroth, and swore, saying, Surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land, which I swore to give unto your fathers, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it, and to him will I give the land that he has trodden upon, and to his children, because he has wholly followed Yahweh. Also, Yahweh was angry with me for your sakes, saying, You also shall not go in thither. But Yahusha, the son of Nun, which stands before you, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Yashrael to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and unto them will I give it, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn you, and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Then ye answered and said unto me, We have sinned against Yahweh. We will go up and fight, according to all that Yahweh Eloheinu commanded us. And when ye had girded on every man his weapons of war, ye were ready to go up into the hill. And Yahweh said unto me, Say unto them, Go not up, neither fight, for I am not among you, lest ye be smitten before your enemies. So I spoke unto you, and ye would not hear, but rebelled against the commandment of Yahweh, and went presumptuously up into the hill. And the Amorim which dwelt in that mountain came out against you, and chased you as bees do, and destroyed you in Seir, even unto Hormah. And ye returned and wept before Yahweh. But Yahweh would not hearken to your voice, nor give ear unto you. So ye abode in Kadesh many days, according unto the days that ye abode there.
All right, so praise Yah. Obviously, a recap of some things that we've discussed in the previous weeks, but nevertheless, a couple things I want to make mention as we read through this. Going back to Deuteronomy 1:3. Well, first off, I didn't mention at the beginning. At the end, we're going to be talking about Moab again. I hope you guys aren't completely tired of hearing me talking about Moab and the parallels with America, Egypt. But here we are once again. They're in Moab, and in Moab is where the covenant is renewed and is the stronghold, the foothold they got in the promised land before they crossed over fully into the promised land. Because consider where they're at eventually was part of their borders, so it's part of their inheritance. So they got a small portion of it, and then it was like this massive military conquest, defeat everybody in the area. Well, eventually not everyone. They didn't listen to the advice and left some of the thorns and thistles to grow. So Deuteronomy 1:3, it came to pass in the 40th year, 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moshe spoke to the children of Israel according to all that Yahweh had given him in commandment unto them. So the law is typically called the law of Moses, and usually when it's spoken about in a negative way, like, oh, that's done away with, or antiquated, or not for us, it's usually quickly dismissed as, the law of Moses? Oh, yeah, we're not under Moses, we're under Messiah. But just, even considering that the law itself, the law of Moses that he gave, came from Messiah. And what's cool is you have this continued succession, because consider the law came from Yahweh to Moshe. Moshe was supposed to gave it to the heads of the tribes. The tribes gave it to the heads of the families. The families were then supposed to teach it diligently unto their household. And of course, multiply. And that's supposed to be a never-ending, eternal cycle. Consider Messiah, who I believe was the one here in Deuteronomy giving this to Moshe. Consider when he came and said, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. And so this is that kind of interesting elephant in the room or question typically with people that talk about the deity, because I fully believe that Messiah is God in that he's a pre-existent being. I mean, we see that in John 1:1, that he was there with Elohim in the beginning, and that literally all things were made by him. And so obviously if this earth, if the sun, the mountains were made by Messiah, he pre-existed and he prophesied to come. But nevertheless, he, our creator, and sure, I'll call him my father. Messiah is my father. I mean, if we're going to call it, Father Abraham, Father Messiah, but nevertheless, our Father also has a father. So now I guess we have this grandfather who Messiah says that no one's ever seen at any time, nor has anyone ever seen his form or his shape, also indicating that Moses saw Messiah's backside, at least of his glorified state. So anyways, but going back to the point here, even the law of Moses is from Messiah, and Messiah himself says it comes from his Father, who is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth, truth being the Torah. And this is why me and my house, we're studying this, as diligent as we understand how to do so. And obviously the mission here at Parable of the Vineyard is to teach the gospel of Messiah, which I believe is foundationally believed in, or is believing that he is the promised one and that we're saved in his blood and his offering at the cross. But if we do that, if we believe him, we're also going to believe what he said before he died on the cross and all the things, because in Matthew 28 he told the disciples to go out, make disciples of all nations, baptizing and of course teaching everything that he told them. And so that tells me I can go to John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and all that is good for me, and I obey all that. And so you look at the life of Messiah, and he's like, literally everything is Torah, everything, which includes caring about the weak. That's literally Torah. That is Torah. It's not a new concept that he brought. Deuteronomy 1:8, the the promise, right, of inheriting the promised land. It's the same promise we have now. Why is this going into in Deuteronomy 30? Sorry. So he's basically saying at the end of time, when it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse, so they had to inherit the blessing, and then, of course, the curse, which I have set before you, and shall call them to mind among all the nations. So now he's indicating being spread across the four corners, where Yahweh has driven you, and into the most remote part, right? And shall return unto Yahweh, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul, that then Yahweh will return your captivity and have compassion on you, and will return and gather you from all the nations where Yahweh has scattered you. And of course, basically he's telling us that we're going to go and inherit these things. Right? And then in verse 5, Yahweh will bring you into land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it, and he will do you good and multiply you above your fathers. Praise Yah. So the same promise awaits us. And I'm sorry if it feels like a burden to hear Torah, 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 but when you really look at it in the right way, it's literally literally a guidebook for life of how to succeed, how to be blessed, how to prosper, how to be healthy, how to how to do well in his eyes if you love him, how to love him. It's literally the success book, like literally what we need. It is the still waters that he leads us by. It is the green pastures that we may lie down and be safe, and none make us afraid. Because when we guard his Torah, he guards us as the apple of his eye. Which he said earlier, your children that said it was going to be a prey. He's like, you don't trust me, they're going to inherit it. Deuteronomy 1:15. I hear this consistently in the Torah movement. A lot of people come out of churches, which a lot of times the modern day churches do have a thing where the pastor is the head honcho and everyone else is kind of just like underneath. Now, some churches aren't run that way, and they have deacons and a board and council, and there's respect there. But I think a lot of people have left the church system, and they're like, well, we're going to flee away from that. But it's overcorrection and going all the way over the side. And now it's like they have these home fellowships, and it's like, hey, nobody's a leader. Messiah is the only leader. We're just a group of brothers. Everyone's equal, which is true, because even in Torah, the king himself was not supposed to elevate himself. Literally, that's a Torah principle, not to multiply gold, multiply horses, that he be not elevated above his brethren. And so the fact that people hold offices and positions of trust and authority doesn't make them higher. It just makes their responsibility greater, and their area of duties different. And so the prospect of having leadership, structure, order, judges is necessary. It's a Torah principle. And again, I'm not condemning anyone out there. Literally, when we started our fellowship, I'd say the same thing. I'm like, listen, I'm not the leader. I'm just facilitating this. And listen, it comes from a good place of not wanting to be exalted and humble and meek. But I think we're misunderstanding what Messiah said, because Messiah is also the one that instructed Moses all these things. And then you see it with the apostles. You see that in Acts 14:21, when they had preached the gospel to that city and had taught many, they returned again to Lystra and Iconium and Antioch, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, which is the Torah. If you haven't seen that teaching yet, it's on parable. I don't know what it's called. Something faith. Or saved through faith. What does it mean? What does that even mean? And that we must, through much tribulation, enter the kingdom of God, Elohim. And when they had ordained them elders in every church and had prayed with fasting, they commended them to Yahweh on whom they believe. And so, literally, this is one of the very pillars of starting a church, was to ordain elders. And it doesn't mean that they're lifted up above their brethren. That means that they would be holding that office in disregard to how Messiah told leaders to lead. He came and gave the example of how kings and priests and leaders act. They serve. They take care. They definitely still structure. They organize. They rebuke. They correct. And there has to be mediation, because when you get a group of people together, stuff is going to happen. It's not if, it's when. And that's why the Torah is here. That's why there's stuff about personal property and loss, and because stuff happens. That's part of it. And the Torah helps us govern these things. And so, again, my exhortation is those of you that are in home fellowships, there needs to be a leader. There needs to be someone, leaders at least, someone that someone can go to if they have issues to resolve. I mean, that's the whole Matthew 18 process. If you have an issue, you go to your brother one-on-one. But the second step should be a leader who is impartial, because that's the whole principle here. It says, I charge your judges that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother. You shall not respect in persons in judgment. And so that's someone that can impartially, being able to not have any favoritism or anything skewing what is right and what is wrong. And that's, once again, the divine law of the Torah. And this is why you have 40,000 denominations, because people aren't uniting on the Torah. They're uniting on man-made doctrines. They'll unite on parts of this and parts of that. But the Torah, is the one divine law that Israel should be uniting on. But going back, let's not get ahead of ourselves. He was saying to, where is it? Yeah, here. So leadership, wise, understanding, men of understanding. So wise means to be intelligent, reasonable, aware, careful, educated, enlightened, experienced, informed, judicious, knowledgeable, perceptive, prudent, rational. Sane, sensible, smart, thoughtful, wary, well-informed. So these are descriptions of how to pinpoint someone who is wise to be in leadership: understanding, accepting, tolerant, compassionate, considerate, empathetic, forgiving, generous, kindly, perceptive, prudent, careful, cautious, discreet, economical, frugal, judicious, reasonable, sane, shrewd, vigilant. So here, and it says, in regards to a matter, you shall not respect persons in judgment, but you shall hear the small as well as the great. You shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is Elohim's. And so it's like, and you see this on both ends of the spectrums. In Exodus and other places, it says, you shall not judge in favor of the poor for his cause, nor for the rich, because there can be snares on both sides. On one side, you can be like, well, it could be favoritism. Maybe like in today's world, I think a lot of people are familiar with bribery and judges being bribed. And I'm not accusing anybody, but just the general possibility exists that decisions could be altered through financial gains and favoritism. And so that's one side. And that's why I think you have these, dominating corporate structures and the very few oppressing the many and the weak. That's what happens when you skew judgment. And on the other side, you could have someone that, again, maybe even from what they may perceive as a righteous heart, like a Robin Hood mentality. Let's say you have two people and you're mediating something, and you have someone who's rich and someone who's poor. And, let's say the poor person is not right. Let's say the rich person is correct in collecting a debt or whatever it is, and the poor person legitimately owes it. You can't side in favor of the poor person, because you're like, well, that rich person doesn't need that $500. This poor person can't even pay their rent. I'm gonna award them the money because he really needs it. That is not okay. Even though it may come from a tender heart to be like, wow, poor person needs $500 to pay rent. That's a good cause, but you can't. That's where the lines have to be drawn. You cannot pervert the judgment of Yahweh. But going back to the overall point, how can you have a group of people and not be able to facilitate the Matthew 18 process if, and again, it's not if, it's when things go wrong. And I'm not trying to speak evil over you or your congregation, but let's be reasonable people. When you get people together, stuff happens over time. It could happen, take months. I've seen fellowships where that dynamic of, hey, nobody's a leader, works for a whole year. And then it's like boom, 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 boom. And they're like, whoa. Man, whirlwind, the whole fellowship broke apart. It split right down the middle. This one person took all the families with them, and the whole fellowship's gone, and it's like a whirlwind. Like, whoa. It's because you need structure and order, which leadership minimizes. You're still going to have division. You're still going to have people that cause problems, but you can protect the flock from. There is collateral damage. There is innocents that are caught when you have someone who's seditious or uprising against leadership, and typically, they carry intelligence, are well spoken, and they'll bring people to their cause. And people sometimes just don't hear both sides, and they're like, wow, I can't believe that's going on. Yeah, we got to go too. And anyways, I don't really know where I'm going with that. Just sharing some of the challenges that we've seen in our very short time of tending the small portion of the flock that Yahweh has allowed us. It's been a great challenge. It says that Satan's going to go after those who have the faith of Yahusha and keep the commandments of Elohim. So it's no doubt that these fellowships are currently under duress. That doesn't mean that we're walking in the wrong way. Read your Bible. That means we're in the right way. That means that, people on the outside have looked in over the years like, wow, your fellowships are really tumultuous, Adam. The leaders come in, they leave, and I can't help it if someone comes in and then 6 months later and they're like, hey, Adam, you need to change the Zadok calendar because you're leading Yahweh's flock astray. And, of course, we try to talk it out, and it's just like, they're like, well, I'm out of here. You're leading the flock astray. And it's like, how can I help? And bringing people with them. And it's like, when they leave, and division, what am I supposed to do there? Just change the Zadok calendar, And I'm not picking on the Zadok calendar. Forgive me. I shouldn't even said the name. Other calendar, right? What's the right decision there? So it's like Satan's like, I can't. He can't change the truth from going forth and people's hearts being converted, but he can surely come in and divide. He can surely come in and take up that which was sown. But leadership is necessary. We are Yahweh's flock. We are his sheep. And sheep do need fences. They need guards from wandering off the path. And the shepherds are needed from keeping the number 2 feces out of it, and clean water, and making sure that there's clean food. And this is a parable. This is a parable for an assembly, which is Yahweh's inheritance. It's his flock. It's his people. And so while the heart posture may be right of, hey, nobody's a leader. I don't want to lift myself up. My Messiah said take the lowest seat. Yeah, I hear you. But someone has got to step up. Someone has to take care of the flock. Otherwise, Satan's going to come in and destroy. So if you really love Yahweh's flock, you've got to guard it. And back in the day, it was the kings, the priests, and the prophets, which were the strong defense, the walls, and the pillars. And it's the same thing that Paul was talking about, I think Ephesians 2, about this house being built for Yahweh, but his sheep to come inside and dwell. He says that Yahushua himself is the chief cornerstone, built upon the foundation of the apostles, prophets, evangelists. Those are the ones that secure. Anyways, I'm over preaching this one. But nevertheless, again, the challenge of those who are put in a position of judgment or right ruling, if you will, there are snares on both sides of things, and your heart has to be checked on both sides. Because this also gets at the point of not judging for the cause of the poor person. That reaches out into many aspects. I've seen it happen where people don't pursue what's righteous according to the Torah because that person is they're a single woman, young child. It's either we stick for the Torah or we don't. Either we exalt Yahweh and his righteousness above all else, and that's why Messiah says boldly, if you love father or mother, son or daughter more than me, you're not worthy of me. And this is why he says, we'll get there here in a couple weeks, in Deuteronomy 30, he even goes on to say, if your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend, which is as your own soul, entice you secretly saying, let's go and serve other gods, which is literally, hey, let's not keep Torah and do other stuff. It goes on to say really bad stuff, really harsh things there. And so literally drawing lines in the sand is what the Torah tells us to do and what Messiah tells us to do. And I'm here to say I love him and I love his ways, and his ways have to be above all else, is where I'm at. Deuteronomy 1, and that may sound crazy to people, but that's just where I'm at. And you should know where I'm at in my mind. I believe his Torah is all-encompassing, and it's everything that his people have been missing. It's everything they need. That cross is just the beginning. So 127, murmuring, just a really quick reminder. Philippians 2:14, do all things without murmurings and disputings. disputings, that you may be blameless and harmless, the sons of Elohim, without rebuke in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. So let's not be those people. James 5:7. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the master. Behold, the husbandman waits for the precious fruit of the earth, and has long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Be also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the master draws nigh. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge stands before the door. Take, my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of Yahweh, for an example of suffering, affliction, and patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of Yahweh, that Yahweh is very pitiful and of tender mercy. So, murmuring, that's a tough one to eradicate, but really murmuring at the end of the day, the root of that is not trusting, not fully believing in the deliverance of Yahweh. And of course, that's oversimplifying, but yeah. And then, of course, you have recounting the passage of them being fearful, and really, obviously, huge parallels in our day. Even in our circles, when I say our circles, people that believe in Messiah and that want to keep the commandments, there's this constant draw to, just dwelling on and meditating on the fear that the world sells, I don't know, empty shells, farmers talking about the food is the big famine's coming. And I mean, we know the big famine's coming. The Bible tells us. I mean, and the reason I'm saying this is it should be healthy for us to understand that hard times are coming and danger is coming, and not to just be completely aloof and be like, oh, nothing's going to happen. But I mean, really, we have the opportunity to either trust Yahweh or not. And where we put our time and focus is what we love, and ultimately where we put our trust. And so this is just a continued understanding. And this is kind of leading up to next week when we go over the Shema. We're in the Shema is the first and greatest commandment. You shall love Yahweh with all of your heart, soul, and mind. Messiah says that. And we're going to expound on that because we really need to flush out this attitude and mentality that Torah is just some icing on the cake, that if you do it, you might get a couple more notches in your crown and a little bit more of a blessing, and you may be in higher rank in the kingdom versus other people who don't keep the Torah. And we can minimize it all we want and say, oh, well, the Christian church, they don't keep the Sabbath. Hey, big deal. I mean, the Sabbath command, you may want to count how many times Yahweh was super upset. I think it's only second to idolatry, which that's the other big part of mainstream Christianity. And this is me not condemning them, but this is saying, hey, there is a big difference and a big deal between Sunday keeping and the Shabbat. There is a big difference between Christmas keeping and the feast days. We cannot minimize it anymore. We can't just be like, oh, that's big deal, you Torah keeper, you keep Sabbath and the feast days, and minimize it like it's just some small matter. This is a huge matter. This is literally the essence of Yahweh. And so we cannot minimize this in our mind and say things like we shouldn't focus on the Torah, we should focus on the gospel. What are you talking about? The Torah is part of the gospel. The Torah is literally part of the healing. It's literally part of the blessings or the curses. It's literally, and though Messiah freed us from the curse of it, do we just go back and curse ourselves over and over and over again? Of course not. We know that. And so if that's the case, if we want to do something and be proficient at it or good at it, or, because I don't know about you, if he continuously equates Torah observance with loving him, I don't know about you, I want to excel at that. I think about all my life how I was trained, between school, military, the business world. I was trained to excel at sports, excel at work, excel at scholastic, education, excel at all sorts of things, excel financially, excel with possessions, excel. Well, what about the most important thing in this world, which is to love Yahweh with all of our heart, soul, and mind? Well, I want to excel at that. So if I want to excel at it, praise be to Yahweh, I have excelled at other things in life previously. And I know it comes with diligence. It comes with thinking about it a lot. It comes with studying it a lot. It comes with practicing it a lot. It comes with, honestly, like Messiah says, to meditate on it day and night. And so this is, I'm kind of setting the stage for the rest of Deuteronomy, honestly, and really prepping us for next week. In that, yeah, I may sound like a broken record, but that's okay because he tells us to be. He says do the same thing every week, do the same thing every month, do the same thing every sporadic periods of the year for the feast days. He tells us to do the same thing over and over again. And you know what? I'm cool with that. I'm super cool with that. And you know what? If we were in the desert and he's like, hey, eat this manna every single day of your life and enjoy it, I'd be like, yes, sir. Because I know that you created me and you know what's best for me. So if it's best for me to eat the same thing every single day, I'm going to take it and I'm going to love you for it. And I'm going to sing you, I will sing you songs about how much I love the manna. You know what I mean? That's where I'm not going to sit here boasting. I just want to share how good it feels in my heart, in my mind, to just know what my Creator's asking of me and what He wants of me. And I'm shutting out the lies of what people have told me all my life. And here we see here, you did not believe Yahweh Elohim. Who's the who? Who? Yahuwah went in the way before you. He didn't send another angel to do his work. He did it himself. Our God came down here and went before us as a military leader and a father. He went before us. Just in case anyone's new to the understanding we have here, I believe Messiah was literally the pillar and the cloud and the fire by night. Jude understood this. Jude, the brother of Messiah, he literally says Yahusha, or Iesus, translated as Jesus, was the one who was in the wilderness. Literally the one in the wilderness. And of course, Paul said the same thing in 1 Corinthians 10. The Messiah was that rock that followed them. And in here, Yahweh heard the voice of your words and was wroth and swore, saying, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see the good land. And so consider who we're dealing with and that he doesn't change. This is the same one that brought the flood. And you want to judge him in your mind for that? Go ahead. I ain't doing it. I trust him so much that had to happen. And how about the wilderness? People could be like on the sidelines being like, whoa, this guy, how rude. I mean, he brought them all the way out and then just didn't let them go in and just had them suffer for 40 years. Okay, this is what happens with disobedience. This is what happens with people that do not love him. When are we going to get the picture? Messiah, literally, if you love me, keep my commandments. And so my point is that you couple this with the same Elohim who in Matthew 7 says, not everyone that says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of my Father. Many in that day shall say to me, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, and in your name have done many wonderful works, and in your name have cast out devils? And then he says, I'll say unto them, away from me, I never knew you, you workers of lawlessness. Matthew 25, 1 through 13, the parable of the wise and the foolish virgins. Research what the oil and the lamp and the what that means. Proverbs 6:23 will give you a really good heads up. But he could have been like, you know what? All 10 of you come. You other 5, you didn't do what I wanted you to do to prepare for my arrival. But just come in anyways. Just come. All 10 of you come. All right. I'm feeling really generous today. Come. No, he line in the sand. Out. You in. You out. I see this and I'm like, wait, I want in. I don't want out. And it's like he tells you the same thing over and over. Literally the last pages of our Bibles. Revelation 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, not know about it. Because Christians often say, well, the Torah is good because we wouldn't know sin otherwise by it. So it's not even just knowing about the commandments. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life. I want the right to the tree of life. And may enter in through the gates of the city. I want to enter into the gates of the city. For without are Torah breakers. That's what this tells me. I don't want to be a Torah breaker anymore. Am I sitting up here saying that I am Mr. Adam perfect? No. Am I praying, Abba, that would make me perfect one day? Yes. I pray that often. I'm finding myself praying that often because I want to. I don't want to mess up ever. I see the effects of messing up with my children, with my family, with my wife, with the congregation. I don't want to mess up ever again. I don't want to sin. I don't want to transgress ever again. Is that a wrong thought or a wrong prayer? Let me ask you. I don't think so. I mean, Messiah literally says, is a commandment. I don't know about you. While I'm saying Torah is Genesis through Deuteronomy, I think Matthew 5 is Torah too. It's Messiah. He's the Word, and He's giving me instruction. And He says, be therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. So if Messiah commands me to be perfect, which He also, this is not a new concept, isn't it here? Or is it 17? No, maybe it's 17. I don't know. But He literally tells, walk before me and be perfect. Oh, it was 17. Okay. And when Abraham was 90 and 9 years old, Yahweh appeared to Abram and said to him, I am Almighty Elohim, walk before me and be you perfect. So, front of the book, the back of the book, that's where I'm at, brothers and sisters. I want to be perfect, and that's been my prayer. I want to be perfect in His Torah, which is the measuring scale of how much we love Him. So, to whom much was forgiven, they love much. And I've stated before, I've sinned much, and now I want to love much. I want to be one of those people that Yahushua was talking about. What about you? Have you been forgiven little or much? Let's finish up chapter 1 with verse 45. And you returned and wept before Yahweh, would not hearken to your voice, nor give ear unto you. So He heard their prayer in instances, and other times He's like, no. Why? I'll give you all. I'll start letting you guys answer more at home, especially so children can hear the parents give the answers. Proverbs 28:9. He that turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. Whew. We want to talk about staying away from. Yeah. So if you turn your ear from hearing the law, your prayer will be an abomination. What about 1 Peter 3? Likewise, you husbands, dwell with them, talking about wives, according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife. He said it, not me, unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life. Why? That your prayers be not hindered. So, if there's been any hindrance in your prayers lately, notice exhibit A and B. This is B, this is A. And there's other exhibits, but those are the only those two witnesses I brought forward to you today. Actually, this is 3. Well, this is the question. This is like the Jeopardy question. All right, let's go to chapter 2, Deuteronomy 2. And obviously it did mention the giants in here, but we're going to talk about the giants in chapter 3 because it mentions a little more about Og and being the last of the Mohicans. No, not the Mohicans. The last of the giants. All right, Deuteronomy 2.
Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 2.
Then we turned and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as Yahweh spoke unto me, and we compassed Mount Seir many days. And Yahweh spoke unto me, saying, Ye have compassed this mountain long enough. Turn you northward, and command the people, saying, Ye are to pass through the coast of your brethren, the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and they shall be afraid of you. Take ye good heed unto yourselves, therefore, meddle not with them, for I will not give you of their land, no, not so much as a foot breadth, because I have given Mount Seir unto Esau for a possession. Ye shall buy food of them for money, that ye may eat, and ye shall also buy water of them for money, that ye may drink. For Yahweh Elohika has blessed you in all the works of your hand. He knows you're walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years, Yahweh Elohika has been with you. You have lacked nothing. And when we passed by from our brethren, the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, through the way of the plain from Elath, and from Etzon Gever, we turned and passed by the way of the wilderness of Moab. And Yahweh said unto me, Distress not the Moabim, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give you of their land for a possession, because I have given Ar unto the children of Lot for a possession. The Emim dwelt there in times past, a people great and many, and tall as the Anakim, which also were accounted Rephaim as the Anakim, but the Moabim called them Emim. The Chorim also dwelt in Seir before time, but the children of Esau succeeded them, when they had destroyed them from before them, and dwelt in their stead as Yashrael did unto the land of his possession, which Yahweh gave unto them. Now rise up, said I, and get you over the brook Zered. And we went over the brook Zered, and the space in which we came from Kadesh Barnea, until we were come over the brook Zered, was 38 years, until all the generation of the men of war were wasted out from among the host, as Yahweh swore unto them. For indeed the hand of Yahweh was against them, to destroy them from among the host, until they were consumed. So it came to pass, when all the men of war were consumed and dead from among the people, that Yahweh spoke unto me, saying, You are to pass over through Ar, the coast of Moab, this day. And when you come nigh over against the children of Ammon, distress them not, nor meddle with them, for I will not give you of the land of the children of Ammon any possession, because I have given it unto the children of Lot for a possession. That also was accounted a land of Rephaim. Rephaim dwelt there in old time, and the Ammonim call them Zamzumim, a people great and many and tall as the Anakim. But Yahweh destroyed them before them, and they succeeded them and dwelt in their stead. As he did to the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, when he destroyed the Horim from before them, and they succeeded them, and dwelt in their stead even unto this day. And the Avim, which dwelt in Chatzerim, even unto Gaza, the Kaphtorim, which came forth out of Kaphtor, destroyed them, and dwelt in their stead. Rise ye up, take your journey, and pass over the river Arnon. Behold, I have given into your hand Sihon, the Amorite, king of Heshbon, and his land. Begin to possess it, and contend with him in battle. This day will I begin to put the dread of you, and the fear of you, upon the nations that are under the whole heaven, who shall hear report of you, and shall tremble, and be in anguish because of you. And I sent messengers out of the wilderness of Kedemoth unto Sihon, king of Heshbon, with words of peace, saying, Let me pass through your land. I will go along by the highway. I will neither turn unto the right hand, nor to the left. You shall sell me food for money, that I may eat, and give me water for money, that I may drink. Only I will pass through on my feet, as the children of Esau which dwelt in Seir, and the Moabim which dwelt in Ar did unto me, until I shall pass over the Yarden into the land which Yahweh Eloheinu gives us. But Sihon, king of Heshbon, would not let us pass by him. For Yahweh Elohika hardened his ruach, and made his heart obstinate, that he might deliver him into your hand, as appears this day. And Yahweh said unto me, Behold, I have begun to give Sihon and his land before you. Begin to possess, that you may inherit his land. Then Sihon came out against us, he and all his people, to fight at Yachatz. And Yahweh Eloheinu delivered him before us, and we smote him, and his sons, and all his people. We took all his cities at that time, and utterly destroyed the men, and the women, and the little ones. Of every city we left none to remain. Only the cattle we took for a prey unto ourselves, and the spoil of the cities which we took. From Aroer, which is by the brink of the river Arnon, and from the city that is by the river, even unto Gilead, there was not one city too strong for us. Yahweh Eloheinu delivered all unto us. Only unto the land of the children of Ammon you came not, nor unto any place of the river Yabok, nor unto the cities in the mountains, nor unto whatsoever Yahweh Eloheinu forbade us.
You know, just sitting here listening to this and reflecting on how a lot of this is a parallel of what's going to happen in the last days. We were talking briefly before about the Red Sea and just looking at the two exoduses, if you will, and the second one being so much greater. And you had this defeat at the Red Sea and the defeat at the fords of Arnon. And anyways, some of this here is foreshadowing of what's to come. And what's really awesome here is that, one day it says, they shall be afraid of you. Take good heed to yourselves, therefore. One day, all the nations are going to fear. It says, this day will I begin to put the dread of you and the fear of you upon the nations that are under the whole heaven. Who shall hear the report of you, and shall tremble and be anguish? It's coming. Exodus 15:14. The people shall hear and be afraid. This is the Song of Moses, of course, which I believe is also a prophetic song, not just a song of history. Sorrow shall take hold on the inhabitants of Palestine. The dukes of Edom shall be amazed. The mighty men of Moab, trembling shall take hold on them. The inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. Fear and dread shall fall upon them. By the greatness of your arm they shall be as still as a stone, till your people pass over, O Yahweh. Till the people you have passed over which you have purchased. Micah 5:7. The remnant of Jacob shall be in the middle of many people as a dew from Yahweh, as the showers upon the grass that tarries not for man, nor waits for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the nations in the midst of many peoples, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, and as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he goes through, both treads down, tears in pieces, and none can deliver. Now consider, before this happens, these people had to be like Messiah in here to preserve life, not bloodthirsty, not ravenous people just ready to just destroy everyone. Recognizing that that time card changes when Messiah says there's time no longer, repentance is over, let's go. Then those sheep turn into lions according to his good pleasure, and then your hand shall be lifted upon your adversaries, and all your enemies shall be cut off. Micah 7:11. In the day that your walls are rebuilt, we've been talking quite a bit about the house of David being restored, the dwelling place of Yahweh forever. In that day shall the decree be far removed. In that day shall he come even to you from Assyria and from the fortified cities. Now, I know this may be confusing and kind of going quickly through it, but from my understanding, there's this end times land that rules the rest of the nations, is a revived Roman Empire, is like a second or greater Egypt, is also called Assyria, Moab, Edom, Ammon. Why? Well, it's kind of a coming back of the Tower of Babel. It's kind of all the nations coming back together, all of its influences, all of its languages, into this kind of this mishmash, melting pot land that, well, we'll read a little bit later. Some of the descriptors of Moab is that she does the work of Yahweh deceitfully, has been at her ease since her inception. Yahweh weeps over her destruction. And so, anyways, obviously I'm talking widely around the elephant in the room, which is America, being the fulfillment of this. And from the fortified cities and from the fortress even to the river, from sea to sea, from mountain to mountain, notwithstanding the land that he's talking about shall be desolate because of them that dwell in it for the fruit of their doings. So, like Revelation 13 says, it shall appear as a lamb, but speak as a dragon. And so this is a, Pharisee 5.0, 2.0. This is a veneer of righteousness, but inside are ravening wolves. So feed your people with your rod, the flock of your heritage, which dwell solitarily in the wood in the midst of Carmel. Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead as the days of old. These are some of the names mentioned earlier. This is poetic talk for, you look at Song of Solomon, Carmel, Bashan, Gilead. This is what he calls his beloved, those who keep his commandments. So he literally says, which dwell set apart in the wood. This is often referenced as the forest, this place of Assyria. I think this is just another name for the end times. According to the days of your coming out of the land of Egypt, will I show unto him marvelous things. The nations shall see and be confounded at all their might. So everyone's going to see something, and they'll be like, what? They shall lay a hand upon their mouth, their ears shall be deaf. They shall lick the dust like a serpent. They shall move out of their holes like worms of the earth. They shall be afraid of Yahweh Elohim and shall fear because of you. 2nd Ezra 13 tells us, nevertheless, the nations come against this place to destroy her. And it even says that they were afraid, but they yet still dared to fight. And of course, they were destroyed, burned up. So, that's been the promise. I mean, Psalm 91 says those who dwell, those who know his name, those who trust in his shadow, doesn't matter. Nothing will touch them. Nothing will touch you. And that's the promise also when when he comes to destroy the great dragon in the sea. And Isaiah 27, in that day Yahweh with a sore and great strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that's in the sea. In that day sing ye unto her a vineyard of red wine. You read it. This is what he guards his people, that keeps his commandments. And I don't care how many people say that it's being self-righteous or that our works are filthy rags, which is supposed to mean that we shouldn't try and love him the way he wants to be loved. Like, come on, this is time. Were we not born for a time such as this? To be a bunch of nobodies? It came from nothing. From the dunghill. To keep his commandments and be set on high. Is that not what's coming? Deuteronomy 2:34. You know, when I say nobodies, what I'm talking about, like Paul says, look around you, brothers. Are there people of reputation? Are the wise of the world here? I mean, who really listened to Messiah 2,000 years ago? It was the former prostitutes. It was the tax collectors. It was the fishermen. It was simple people. The smarty pants were too busy. What's different now? Nothing. Deuteronomy 2:34. Some people look at this and it's like, wow, how could Yahweh allow them to go in and destroy man, woman, and child? I think, sorry, I don't, I've been told that the snot thing is just super annoying. Okay. Proverbs 2:21 through 22. For the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. So, number one, that land was assigned to Shem. And you had Canaanites and others who were improperly, unauthorized, dwelling in those boundaries. And nevertheless, they also carried the giant DNAs, and those nations were, of course, I mean, put yourself in not in their shoes, but think about it for a second. If they knew these giants were massively strong and can destroy all their enemies, do you think that they would continue to reproduce those and to keep that giant DNA like reproducing? And so it was my understanding that those communities, you know, they all carried the giant, the tainted DNA that wasn't supposed to be there. And when I say that, if anyone is not familiar with Genesis 6 stuff, fallen angels, Enoch 6 and 7 stuff, the fallen angels coming down, mating with women, creating these giants. These giants ended up, of course, ruling over men, killing men, eating all their acquisitions, eating them. And the Most High is like, creation's been tainted, you know, and that's why I understood the flood, and they ended up tainting animals and stuff too. I think we might actually read that a little bit later. And so I would understand that, you know, if these cities had these giants and the giant DNA, and it would just keep perpetually destroying his creation, you know, like a gardener, it's got to go. And I know it seems really insensitive, but I don't know. I'm at a point where I just trust my Father that this had to happen. I just trust him, and I'm not going to question him now or in the future. If he says do something, I'm going to do it. And if he says specifically do this thing, and while you do it, do this, like Saul messed up. Saul was given this same order right here, and Saul didn't do it. And it kept the animals. And he was like, well, you know, we wanted to give you an offering. We need to follow our Father to the T. Jot and tittle. Sorry. Matthew 24:45 through 51. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master has made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his master, when he comes, shall find so doing. Verily I say to you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. There's that promise right there. I mean, this is important because this is literally what Messiah says here. He says in Revelation, he who overcomes to the end, will I sit in my throne. He has the throne of David. He came and reclaimed the throne of David and sits on it forever. He says he wants to give his people, those who overcome. And he's saying here, who is faithful and a wise servant? Messiah will make him ruler over all his goods. Just like Genesis 1. He created this earth for man to have dominion, to rulership. But in righteousness and in meekness and humility, not in oppression and dominance. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my master delays his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, which happens so frequently, right? And to eat and drink with the drunken, the master of that servant shall come in a day when he looks not for him, and in an hour when he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Again, this is not the group that I would like to be a part of. 1 Timothy 6:4 through 5. He is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof comes envy, strife, railings, and evil surmisings. And this movement, this is where people have got to wake up. Sitting there arguing with people about, tearing other people down about the pronunciation of the name, and just destroying brethren about words. I mean, you see this, right? Questions and strife of words. And isn't this what you see? Isn't this the fruit that you see? Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw yourself. All right, sorry. Let's go to chapter 3. And I got actually still quite a bit to finish up here in chapter 3. This is where we're going to talk about giants and then more Moab stuff, House of David being restored in the last days stuff. We're just getting started, y'all. Man, what a awesome life he's given us.
Debarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 3.
Then we turned and went up by the way to Bashan, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. And Yahweh said unto me, Fear him not, for I will deliver him, and all his people, and his land into your hand. And you shall do unto him as you did unto Sihon, king of the Amorim, which dwelt at Heshbon. So Yahweh Eloheinu delivered into our hands Og also, the king of Bashan, and all his people, and we smote him until none was left to him remaining. And we took all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we took not from them. 80 cities, all the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these cities were fenced with high walls, gates, and bars, beside unwalled towns a great many. And we utterly destroyed them, as we did unto Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the cattle and the spoil of the cities we took a prey to ourselves. And we took at that time out of the hand of the 2 kings of the Amorim the land that was on this side of the Yarden, from the river of Arnon unto Mount Hermon, which Hermon that Sidonim called Shiron, and the Amorim call it Shanir. All the cities of the plain, and all Gilead, and all Bashan, unto Salca, and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of Rephaim. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbath of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth thereof, after the cubit of a man. And this land which we possessed at that time, from Aroer, which is by the river Arnon, and half Mount Gilead, and the cities thereof, gave I unto the Reubenim, and to the Gadim, and the rest of Gilead, and all Bashan, being the kingdom of Og, gave I unto the half tribe of Manasseh. All the regions of Argob, with all Bashan, which was called the land of Rephaim. Yair, the son of Manasseh, took all the country of Argob unto the coasts of Geshurai and Maakathai, and called them after his own name, Bashan Chavoth Yair, unto this day. And I gave Gilead unto Machir, and unto the Reuvenim and unto the Gadim I gave from Gilead even unto the river Arnon, half the valley, and the border even unto the river Yabok, which is the border of the children of Ammon, the plain also, and the Yarden, and the coast thereof, from Kinneroth even unto the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, under Ashdoth, Hap, Pikga, eastward. And I commanded you at that time, saying, Yahweh Elohim has given you this land to possess it. Ye shall pass over armed before your brethren, the children of Yashrael, all that are meet for the war, but your women, and your little ones, and your cattle, for I know that ye have much cattle, shall abide in your cities which I have given you, until Yahweh have given rest unto your brethren, as well as unto you, and until they also possess the land which Yahweh Elohim has given them beyond the Yarden. And then shall you return every man unto his possession, which I have given you. And I commanded Yahusha at that time, saying, Your eyes have seen all that Yahweh Elohim has done unto these two kings. So shall Yahweh do unto all the kingdoms whither you pass. You shall not fear them, for Yahweh Elohim, he shall fight for you.
All right, praise the Most High. So we need to talk more about giants. I'm realizing that maybe a decent portion of you out there may have not seen this before. So, I mean, we're talking about, was it 9 cubits? People dispute exactly how tall that is. From my understanding, I had the royal cubit, which is what Moshe would have been brought up with and understood, would have equaled 15 feet. That giant. What we see also in the scriptures is like these giants got a little smaller over time, which makes sense. The book of Enoch, I mean, they were massive tall. That's also dispute exactly how tall, but you see them get shorter and shorter and shorter by the time of David's time. I think, again, you can dispute. It was Goliath. 9 feet tall. Was he 13 feet tall? But it definitely got shorter and shorter over time. And then to the time, I guess, we're living in today, people at 8, 9 feet. I don't know. Anyways, so let's go to Genesis 6. We're talking quite a bit about giants and kind of just talking through it. So let's go to Genesis 6. Let's go to the foundation, because I know not everyone was taught that giants actually existed and that angels came down from heaven and did bad stuff. So it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came to the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which are men of old, men of renown. So you get a small little snippet here in the canon. Now, I do believe Enoch is scripture. I do have a specific video. Is the book of Enoch scripture? I guess if you can search it, is Enoch scripture, parable of the vineyard? I'm sure you'll find it. I think it's like a blue, like all blue. It's not a great thumbnail. Whatever, it's just blue. It says, is Enoch scripture? And I just wrote an article years ago, just kind of going over most of the major issues with it that people have, kind of going through those and going through all the connections where I believe my Messiah directly taught from the book of Enoch, and even condemned the Pharisees for not knowing the details of intimate details that are only found in that book and nowhere else, which is literally about how angels do not marry, and you only find that in Enoch 15. But here we have angels trying to marry and reproduce, and we see what happens. So Enoch 6, came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born to them beautiful and comely daughters, and the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semyaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear you will not agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. So it's like they knew there was judgment come, but they also knew he was merciful, and so they tested his mercy, right? They tempted him. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath and bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, it's like a curse, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were all in 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders. And we'll go ahead and skip that. Chapter 7. And all the others together with them took on themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms, enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells. Highly debated what this actually means, but really tall. Who consumed all the acquisitions of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones, which is what Satan's called at the end, right? The lawless one. Side note, this is how I understand where dinosaurs came from, because, are there these massive giant bones of animals that are long gone? Yeah. So if angels can mate with people and make great giant people, what would happen if angels also figured out a way to put their DNA, let's call it, in animals? What would you have? Even Jurassic Park was like, hey, these dinosaurs, a lot of them are more closely related to birds than anything else. So what would happen if they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles as they did with women? This is also what I believe is part of the flood. And so, the dinosaur story is dinosaurs, big rock from heaven coming down and destroying them all. Well, isn't that what happened? Isn't Yahusha the rock that literally came down and destroyed them all with the flood? Just changing some details. Isn't that what the enemy does? Takes a truthful story and changes some of the details. And isn't that a euphemism of what's going to happen in the last days? The only deception that's going to capture the entire world, other than the remnant, is a Christian veneer. Let's be honest. Leading off of the blood of Yahusha, Jesus, if you will, and then leading people completely astray off the path through man-made traditions and the mark of the beast, which is basically obedience to his ways. So, yeah, and so, anyways, obviously, this is kind of where I'm at. I mean, you have this group of people that came out and defeated these massive nations with giants, with impossible odds, and it's like, well, what is that not available to us in the last days? I'm here to say yes, and I've set my mind and my heart on the law of the Most High, because tune in tomorrow on Shabbat. I don't even know what I'm going to call it, but I'm going to basically share why we need to focus on the law, why it's everything we've been waiting for. And that is focusing on Messiah. We want to focus on Messiah and focus on the poor and the meek and the lowly and doing the work of Messiah. That is focusing on Torah, is the case I'd like to make. And when his people actually start doing it, we're going to grow and we're going to go strong. And he's going to gather us and make us into a nation, and we're going to do the exact same thing. And the nations won't be able to do a thing. And of course, it begins, this reformation, this real reformation, it begins in Moab. Before we do that, though, let's set the stage with rebuilding the house and him coming down to dwell. This is the mission at hand. Rebuild the house. He comes, he dwells. Now, of course, everything is done with his rebuilding. It's a spiritual house, but his people have to come together. Zechariah 2:4. And said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls for the multitude of men and cattle therein. For I, says Yahweh, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. That sounds really familiar with the whole wilderness experience that we've been reading about. Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, says Yahweh, for I have spread you abroad as the four winds of heaven, says Yahweh. Deliver yourself, O Zion, that dwells with the daughter of Babylon. Now, I don't know of a better explanation of the daughter of Babylon than America at this point. I understand Jerusalem as the mother Babylon. I understand America as the daughter of Babylon. So when people are like, no, it's not Jerusalem, it's America. Well, America's the daughter of Babylon. That's why she looks just like her and acts just like her. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, after the glory has he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that touches you touches the apple of his eye. For behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants. You shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of you, says Yahweh. This is what we want, right? I don't know about you. This is the desire of my heart. I will not find rest. My soul will not find rest, complete rest, until the Most High, Yahusha, comes, and Yahweh comes and dwells with us, our master, our king, our priest, our leader, our father, our everything. And yes, just in case everyone's getting upset out there, Yahusha himself has a father as well. He said so clearly, and he's the son. But this son is our leader and our father and our example and our visible example and our everything. Many nations shall be joined to Yahweh in that day, and shall be my people. And I will dwell in the midst of you, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me unto you. And Yahweh shall inherit Judah his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. So he's going to lay down the line and build again. So where this starts, Amos 9:11, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that's fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I'll raise up his ruins, and I'll build it as in the days of old, the ancient times. Hosea 3:4-5, for the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, without an image, without an ephod, without a teraphim. And afterward shall the children of Israel return, and seek Yahweh their Elohim, and David their king, and shall fear Yahweh and his goodness in the latter days. Jeremiah 23:5-6, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh our righteousness. Jeremiah 33:14-17, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I'll perform that good thing which I have promised to the house of Israel and to the house of Judah. In those days and at that time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days Judah shall be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely, and this is the name wherewith she shall be called, Yahweh our righteousness. For thus says Yahweh, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Micah 4:7-8, and I will make her that halted a remnant, and her that was cast off a strong nation. These are outcasts, these are nobodies. And Yahweh shall reign over them in Mount Zion from henceforth, even forever. And you, was this Migdal? It's a famous phrase, Migdal. You tower of the flock, stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto you shall it come, even the first dominion, and the kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Isaiah 16, this is where it happens, and it happens in Moab. This is why it's so important that we're here in Deuteronomy, right? And it's like the renewal of the covenant. And we'll go over the scriptures next week. That covenant was renewed. It says beside the covenant in Horeb. Isaiah 16:1-6. Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land. By the way, I've got a new song, and it's got some of these verses in it. Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land, from Selah to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. For it shall be that, as a wandering bird cast out of the nest, so the daughters of Moab shall be at the fords of Arnon. This is what I'm saying prophetically is coming. There's going to be something big, like Red Sea stuff, that's still to come in a future sense in the land of Moab, which I believe is in America. So take counsel, execute judgment. We read the prophecies that Yahweh, Yahusha, is going to raise up, and this is going to happen. People are going to take counsel, execute judgment, make your shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. This is Torah observance, and this is a command to Moab: hide the outcasts, betray not him that wanders. Let my outcast dwell with you. Again, who were his people 2,000 years ago? Who listened? Who was ready? Who heard his message? It was the nobodies. It was the downcast. It was the rejects. Even among the own nation, the rejects. Let my outcast dwell with you, Moab. Be a covert to them from the face of the spoiler. For the extortioner is at an end, the spoiler ceases, the oppressors are consumed out of land. And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth, right? In Torah, in the house of David, judging, seeking judgment, and hasting righteousness. Now, here's a little indicator of Moab. We have heard the pride of Moab. He is very proud. What nation is known for being proud? Even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath. What nation is so wrathful and prideful as the one that most of us reside in today that are listening to this message? And I know not everybody. We're spread across the four corners, no doubt. But this is the epicenter of where it's going down, no doubt. Let's go to a couple more things about Moab. Isaiah 16:9. Therefore, I will bewail you with weeping of Jazer, the vine of Sibmah. I will water you with my tears, O Heshbon and Eleas. Why is the Most High weeping? For the shouting of your summer fruits and your harvest is fallen. Why is he crying? Jeremiah 48:9-11. Give wings unto Moab, that it may flee and get away, for the cities thereof shall be desolate, without any to dwell therein. Cursed be he that does the work of Yahweh deceitfully. What nation could be charged with doing the work of Yahweh most deceitfully? And this is to come. Cursed be he that keeps back his sword from blood. Moab has been at ease from his youth. What nation could be pinpointed today? If we're in the end times, what nation could be pinpointed as being at ease from his youth? He has settled on his lees, right? This is the comfort and the... This nation does subject other nations into slavery for its prosperity. Has not been emptied from vessel to vessel. Neither has he gone into captivity. Has this nation gone into captivity? Nations have tried. When you have a huge moat around it, it's kind of hard. But when it's the Most High's will and his timing, this nation will be trodden underfoot. It's coming. It's inevitable. Famine is coming to this country. Empty shelves are coming. Massive destruction, gangs of raiders taking people over, knocking down doors, taking food. It's coming. Oh, it's definitely coming. You want to be on the right side of things? Align yourself with the Most High. That's the only escape from this. That's the only escape from the sea in this case. He's your only shelter. You want to be the apple of his eye that no one touches? Guard the Torah of the Most High with all of your heart, soul, and mind in the light of how Messiah told us to keep it. Therefore, his taste remains in him, and his scent is not changed. This is America from its inception. Verse 26, making him drunken, for he magnified himself against Yahweh. Moab also shall wallow in his vomit. This is Torah disobedience parallels. And he also shall be in derision. Verse 29, we have heard the pride of Moab. He's exceeding proud. His loftiness, right? He's lifted up. His arrogancy, his pride, and the haughtiness of his heart. I know his wrath, says Yahweh, but it shall not be so. His lies shall not so affect it. What nation could be charged with being a lying nation? Well, surely all of it, but who's known for it? Who leads the charge, if you will? Who's the cream of the crop of the lies of this world? What country dishes out lies, especially through media, journalism, movies, music, dishing out lies, bad behavior, contrary to Torah behavior? Who lies the most? Who also leads off with the blood of Jesus and lies to people all day long? With two horns like a lamb, but speaks like a dragon. Therefore will I howl for Moab, and I'll cry out for all Moab. My heart shall mourn for the men of Kir Heres. Verse 45. Now they that stood under they that fled from this wickedness of Moab, stood under the shadow of Heshbon. We talked about last week about Heshbon. This is that stronghold. This is getting that foothold that Yahweh gives because of the force. But a fire shall come forth out of Heshbon, and a flame from the midst of Sihon, and shall devour the corner of Moab and the crown of the head of the tumultuous ones. This is a messianic prophecy to destroy the corners of Moab. Where is it? It's like Numbers 21 or something. 24, okay. This is Balaam, right? Prophesying, I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise. This is a kingship shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab and destroy all the children of Sheth. So I was thinking to myself, I was wondering, like, I don't understand, especially the passage that prophesies a city being built in Heshbon unto Sihon, and I'm like, why Sihon's this giant king? What's he have to do with it? Like, why is he still in the picture in the end times? Why is he still being prophesied? But I'm realizing this is just a poetic name. Sihon means tempest. It means a whirlwind. It means like the tornado of Yahweh. I'll explain that in a second. But a fire shall come forth out of Heshbon, and a flame from the midst of Sihon, and shall devour the corner of Moab and the crown of the head of the tumultuous ones. And it says here, there shall be no more praise of Moab. In Heshbon they have devised evil against it. Come and let us cut off from being a nation. Also you shall be cut down, O madmen. So this is the nations coming against Heshbon. And this is that Psalm 83 stuff. Keep not silence, O Elohim. Hold not your peace, and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, and consulted against your hidden ones. Remember, we just read in Isaiah, hide my outcasts. But I guess at some point they're no longer hidden. They have said, come, let us cut it off from being a nation, that the name of Israel, the Torah of Israel, may be no more in Zakar, remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you. Edom, Ishmael, Moab, Hagarenes, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistines. This is all those prophetic names, right, for this one town. This is what it looks like also in the Psalms. Why do the nations rage and the people? So this is the lost, right, and even the people. Imagine a vain thing. The kings of the earth set themselves together, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast their cords away from us. Get the Torah of the Most High away from us, basically. Get it away from us. We don't want it. We want to unite in our Torah disobedience. Look at our unification. How are you pesky people still talking about the Torah? He that sits in the heavens shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion, which our king Yahusha says, hey, he who overcomes to the end, will I sit on my throne. I will declare the decree. Yahweh said unto me, you are my son. This day have I begotten you. Ask of me, and I shall give you the nations for your inheritance. You shall break them with a rod of iron. And this is what he promises his people, that those who overcome to the end will rule the nations with a rod of iron. Going back to Heshbon, and Heshbon being this place of refuge, but this fire coming out of Heshbon, and then Sihon brought me to Isaiah 28, because Sihon means whirlwind, tempest. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim. So this is a group of people who are led astray by doctrine, whose glory is the beauty of a fading flower, which are on the head. So the rosh, the premier of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine. So this is talking about the most prosperous land where this doctrine factory is leading the nations astray. Behold, Yahweh has a mighty and a strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, there's your Sihon, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. This is the two witness stuff. Shall have power over water, and that it rains not, turn water to blood. The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet. In that day, Yahweh of hosts shall be for a crown of glory and for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of people. He's going to crown the residue of his people that are keeping his ways. And for a spirit of judgment to him that sits in judgment. And this is why he has that promise to restore the throne of David in Isaiah 16 through mercy, seeking right ruling and hasting righteousness. And so he's going to give a spirit of judgment to him that sits in judgment, and strength to them that turn the battle back to the gate. They're like, you know what? We're gonna be doers. We're gonna get up and we're gonna be a light. We're gonna walk in the Torah of the Most High and do it the whole way, all of it. Anyways, I think I'm done ranting and just sharing stuff. I want to share a couple songs. I want to share a couple songs in relation to this that I recently remade. I just made another rock type song, so if you don't like that stuff, I'm really sorry. And then I want to play Fire of Heshbon. I think these are two songs that relate to the study tonight. So a couple announcements. We're like 80-something days away from Passover, at least on the calendar we're doing. Call it an invite for those of you that believe in Messiah and want to keep the commandments to the best of your understanding. Invite you out to Passover. Victoria said she's almost done with making the registration site. She's like, if you tell me you're going to announce it on the Torah portion, I'll make sure that the site is done. So I have good faith that my Proverbs 31 wife has completed the website, and but no need to do anything during Shabbat. Wait till Shabbat's over, and then check it out. I'll make sure to put a link in the description box of where to sign up for Passover. We do camp out for the whole week, so that we do the whole week of unleavened bread. We don't just do the Passover meal. We do the whole week, so we get the tent out. We do praise and worship every night. Yeah. So I just ask you guys to pray for me. It does feel like at times, I feel like the enemy has his crosshairs over this place and trying to destroy what we're doing here. We're doing the best we can to understand what Messiah called us to do with the Acts 2 community, to build up his house, and to turn the battle back to the gate here, to establish gates, borders, to establish righteousness within. Psalm 101 will tell you a little more about that. I feel like the mission that's been given to me. And we're just taking it seriously. We're going to take the boss seriously. We're going to take Daddy seriously. And I don't care what anyone says. We're going to focus with Torah, which is the whole package. Torah does tell about spirit and truth. Paul even says the law is spiritual in Romans 7. So, anyways, going to play a new song. It's a rock and roll song, so if that offends you, this is your warning. And then I think I'm going to play Fire from Heshbon after that. And, yeah, we'll pray, and I hope you guys have a great week. And, yeah. Father Yahweh, we just come before you. In Yahushua's name, I just pray that the fear of you, the dread of you alone would be on your people, and they no longer fear the Illuminati or financial collapses or anything. I don't know. Just all the things that people try to just get people entrapped and snared in. I just pray that they would fear you alone, and knowing that if we dwell under your shadow, that nobody will touch us, that we'll be the apple of your eye, that nobody will touch. And I pray that this would be the time, Father, that all things would be restored, your people would be restored, and that you come and dwell in your house, and that righteousness would be restored all throughout the lands, and that your law would be the governing body of this whole world, which is how it was created to be. Thank you for your rest. Thank you for the Shabbat. Thank you for your blood that atones for us, and we want to honor it through walking your law, which you say is your love language. We love you, and we want to love you. Help us to love you better. Help us understand and walk out your ways. In Yahushua's name we pray. Amen. It's words like that that used to make me so fearful of ever praying in public. I'd be like, I'm going to say something dumb like that. But look, I'm still here. I'm alive.
The beast enthroned, but his time is near. Riding on us with power, Egypt shall fear. Nations raged, hand on spear. Turn my people, open ear. Signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. Jerusalem, your time to depart. The law of Yah was not in your heart. Time for a dirge, hey, where's my harp? He that endures to the end surely will be saved. Listen, my people, time to obey. Law of Yah, no more room to delay. Those who don't will surely be turned away from the gate, no matter what they say. Life or death, time to choose this day. Send ye the lamb to the rule of the land, from Silla to the wilderness. Wandering birds cast out of the nest. The daughters of Moab will have no rest. Unto the mount of the daughter of Zion, Yahweh will deliver unto us Sinai. Signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. Jerusalem, your time to depart. The law of Yah was not in your heart. Time for a dirge, hey, where's my harp? He that endures to the end surely will be saved. Listen, my people, time to obey. Law of Yah, no more room to delay. Those who don't will surely be turned away from the gate, won't matter what they say. Life or death, time to choose this day. Jacob and a light for Israel. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. Once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. Once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. Why do they that preach from pulpits say don't keep the law? Messiah and the Spirit prophesy, I want Torah. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. Once it starts, no stopping. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. Once it starts, no stopping. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. Once it starts, no stopping. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. Once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. There's a fire gone from Heshbon. Once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. Yahuwah moonlight, my candle, Torah burning in the walls of my heart. It's the only way, the truth and life. It starts at the cross, but we follow it, walking holy in the ancient path, eternal Torah. Don't be fooled again. We're the generation handpicked for His glory. Let's be There's a fire gone from Heshbon. Once it starts, no stopping till it fills the earth. There's a star that's come from Jacob and a light for Israel. Yahuwah will light my candle, Torah burning in the walls of my heart. It's the only way, the truth and life. It starts at the cross, but we follow it, walking holy in the ancient path, eternal Torah. Don't be fooled again.